Alright everyone, this is part 2 of RYFT. Of course I had someone ask me to do this, so we're going to play the whole game. Now keep in mind, there will be spoilers, so I think that goes without saying, right? So if you don't want spoilers, you should stop right now. But let's go here. So I've pretty much continued from where I left off. And we're right here with the maid. Let's examine some stuff, like this pool table.
This pool table is the highlight of the room. On top of it are a few white cue balls.
Let's examine those cue balls, so just X balls.
Oddly, all of the balls here are white cue balls. Guess somebody's really got an itch to scratch.
It's probably some kind of reference. I don't play pool. But let's just grab these.
You snatch the cue balls and stuff them in your coat pocket.
Let's see, what else? I think there was a bucket here, so let's examine the bucket.
Nothing says manual labor like a bucket full of rags.
X rags.
Nothing says manual labor like a bucket full of rags.
Let's take rag.
You grab a rag from the bucket.
Just examine it.
It's a rag, fresh from the bucket.
And yeah, I would say get into the habit of examining things. Like, let's examine the screwdriver that was in the hallway.
It's a Phillips head screwdriver.
Hopefully the volume level is okay on your end. I hope it's not too loud. Yeah, so let's see. I think that covers everything in here. Let's just look around.
A pool table stands at the center of the room. In the corner of the room, the maid scrubs the floor. An absurdly large diamond ring glitters on her left ring finger. Next to the maid, there is a bucket full of rags. There is an exit to a room to the north. The diamond is blindingly beautiful. Literally. It's as if it's sucking in all the ambient light and amplifying it straight into your eyeballs.
Alright, so let's continue to explore. So I'm going to go north.
You enter a large kitchen. Black and white tiles checker across the floor to a long island in the center of the room. A portly chef leans against an old gas stove. On the counter, an automatic coffee maker percolates. A knife lies on a shelf nearby. Embedded in one of the walls is a small wooden hatch with a handle. There is an exit to the south, leading to the billiard room. If you ever want to quickly revisit somewhere you've already explored, you can fast travel back to it by saying go to room. For example, go to the living room.
Yeah, I will be taking advantage of that. That is very useful. Let's examine some stuff.
The knife looks very sharp, and despite the fact that it is now in a kitchen, from the blade's double-edged combat tip, it does not seem likely it was accustomed to chopping vegetables.
Okay.
You pick up the knife, taking care not to nick yourself. It is very sharp. This automatic coffee maker seems to dispense 1 cup at a time when you push its little red button.
Right, there's that. Let's see, what else we got here? Examine the hatch.
The small hatch has hinges and a handle.
Let's examine the man.
The chef regards you with mild disinterest as you examine him. His greasy apron clings to his rotund body. The stubble on his face, in addition to his general physical state, suggests he's not a man who takes great care of himself.
Right. What about this island here?
You think someday your kitchen will have an island like this one.
Let's open the hatch.
You pull open the hatch, revealing a dumbwaiter chute behind it. The tray is missing, but there is a rope on the side that stretches up and down the chute.
X dumbwaiter.
The dumbwaiter's tray is missing, but there is a rope on the side that stretches. The rope leads up and down the dumbwaiter's chute. From what you can tell, it's connected to some sort of pulley mechanism above.
Where's the pulley?
You don't see that there.
Okay, it's not here. Let's pull the rope.
You pull on the rope and hear a creaking noise echo from below as the dumbwaiter tray makes its way up to your level. When the tray arrives, it is covered in a puddle of some sort of grease.
X tray.
In the middle of the tray, there is a puddle of grease. Bacon grease from the smell of it. There must have been a lot of bacon on this tray to leave behind this much grease.
Yeah, so, again, I'm going to spoil this, but we have to use the rag on the grease, so use rag with grease.
You mop up the grease with your rag. You put the greasy rag back in your pocket, folded cleanly so you don't ruin the liner.
Let's see, is the pulley here? It might be upstairs.
You don't see that there.
If I pull the rope again...
You pull the rope again, and the tray lifts up into the chute, stopping at another floor.
X pulley.
You don't see that there.
Yeah, okay, there's nothing here. There's the stove in here.
It appears to be a regular old gas stove, with a few knobs below the burners to control the flames.
Let's try... turn knobs.
You twist the knobs to ignite the burner, but only hear a clicking sound. The chef turns to you and says,
"It's no use. Damn thing's been out of gas for days now. Or has it been years?"
Let's talk to the chef.
"Well, hello there. Have we met before? Excuse my memory. It isn't quite what it used to be, I'm afraid. In fact, there was something I was supposed to remember. Something important. This damn place."
You can ask about the thing he was supposed to remember. Stove broken? This place. Kindra.
Stove broken.
Damn thing's out of gas. There's some way to replace it, but hell if I can remember. The irony is the only thing that could ever jog my memory here is the smell of food. But it's not like I've got anything to cook with.
Now, that's a clue. Let's ask about Kindra.
I believe I knew a Kindra once. Was she a duchess? Or maybe Kindra was her cat. I hate cats. What were we talking about?
He hates cats. Okay, then. How about the thing he was supposed to remember?
Yes, dang-nammit, what was it? Something the master said. Whatever it was very, very important. Something I was supposed to help the master remember. It's too bad we haven't got any food around here. Smells always tend to jog the old memory for me.
New topics added. No food and the master.
The master.
Well, you must be new here if you haven't met the master. He's a demanding fellow with an impeccable taste for gourmet cooking. He found me some years ago and employed me as his private chef. Little did I know it'd bring me here, or that I would spend countless hours slaving away to cobble together culinary masterpieces from what meager flora and fauna can be found in this godforsaken place. Our supplies have been dwindling since the master left. We had a garden, but without the master bringing us new seeds from the mainland, it died after the last harvest. There isn't much here in terms of wildlife, except for the boars, but we manage all the same. You see, food isn't really necessary when you're in a place like the Nexus, though I still do love a good meal. It's the smells I miss the most. I don't quite feel myself without all those scents to stir the mind and memory.
New topic added. Memory problems?
Memory problems.
You know, things all just seem to blur together a bit here. It's been the same ever since I arrived, whenever that was. But at least when I was cooking, I had my craft to keep me grounded. The smells were pretty much all I had to stop from becoming adrift in the sea of monotony.
I think that's everything we can talk to him about right now.
You can ask about the thing he was supposed to remember. Stove broken? This place.
Yeah, okay. Let's use thermos with maker.
You take out the thermos and place it underneath the coffee dispenser. You press the red button, and the thermos is filled to the brim with fresh Java. You snap the thermos's lid shut and stash it in your coat pocket.
Actually, I wonder if it would let me drink the coffee. Drink thermos.
You drink down the hot coffee. It's not the best you've ever tasted, but it's a nice little pick-me-up regardless. The thermos is now empty.
I guess you can do that. Use thermos with coffee.
You take out the thermos and place it underneath the coffee dispenser. You press the red button, and the thermos is filled to the brim with fresh Java. You snap the thermos's lid shut and stash it in your coat pocket.
Give thermos to man.
What a potent aroma. Reminds me of all those late nights, or early mornings, I spent cooking the master's favorite dish. What was it again? If only I had that darn recipe.
So he wants a recipe of some kind. Let's continue exploring here. I'm going to type go to living room.
The living room. A crumbling staircase bars access to the second floor from this elegant space. Calling this a staircase is perhaps inaccurate. Given its decimated state, it is closer to the memory of a staircase. The bottom half of it is totally collapsed, and what remains of the top half looks questionably sturdy. You add find a way upstairs to your to-do list.
And yeah, you do have a list here, so if I examine the notepad...
Here's what's on your to-do list. Find a way upstairs.
Oh, let's open the door, too.
You try to open the door. It won't budge.
Right.
It feels like something is blocking it from the outside. You add find a way out of the mansion to your to-do list.
Alright, so this is another puzzle. And as you might expect, you have to find a way to get up the stairs. Well, you can push the ottoman to staircase. Let's see if that works.
As you move the ottoman, you notice there's another cassette tape lying on the floor beneath it. You make a mental note, and then finish bringing the ottoman over to the base of the broken staircase. You plop it down, creating a sort of makeshift step that's just tall enough for you to reach the intact portion of the staircase.
And here's some more tapes. Let's get this and listen to it.
You pick up the tape and put it in Kendra's player.
Hey Kendra, it's Kendra. Found this old tape recorder tucked away in Father's study. Figure maybe it can help with our memory if we start keeping a little voice diary. So, don't forget to keep up with it, okay? Also, don't tell Father about this. He doesn't like me messing with temporal artifacts, so it's our little secret. He's gone again today. He's been gone for a while this time. Maybe in Europe again. Hope he comes back soon. The house is really starting to fall apart. In his absence, I've taken to walking the grounds. Yesterday I tried to solve the hedge maze, but nothing made any sense to me. I know there's some trick to it, but it's hard to run an empirical study when you can barely even remember what you had for breakfast. Tonight, I think I'll go up to the lighthouse and watch the stars flickering over the edge of the world. I like looking at them. It's peaceful. It almost feels like I'm somewhere else.
You stash the tape in your inventory.
Right. Let's go upstairs, and then I can just type U for up.
You step up onto the ottoman and jump to reach the first intact stair. You pull yourself up onto your torso and just barely manage to heave the rest of your body over the ledge. The rest of the stairs are sturdy enough, and you make your way up to the second floor. The walls of the hallway are lined with portraits and other works of art, including busts and statuary, all depicting very similar-looking people. Perhaps descendants of this mansion's dynastic owners? Embedded in one of the walls is a small wooden hatch with a handle. A grease-stained sheet of paper lies on the floor below. There are exits to the west into a master bedroom, to the east onto a balcony, and down the stairs to the living room.
Alright. And I'm still recording. Let's take the paper.
You pick up the paper.
Let's examine it.
It is a recipe for Master's favorite Eggs Benedict.
There's a hatch.
The small hatch has hinges and a handle.
Open it.
You don't see that there.
Oh. Open hatch.
You pull open the hatch, revealing a dumbwaiter chute behind it and a clean tray. There is a rope on a pulley that stretches down to the floors below.
Examine pulley.
Without this simple pulley, the entire dumbwaiter system would come unscrewed.
Now the tray is here, but it's clean because I took the grease off of it. Let's use the screwdriver. Use screwdriver with pulley.
You pull out the screwdriver and start to unscrew the pulley from its housing on the dumbwaiter. As the last screw clears its thread, the pulley falls into your hands. The impact causes the long end of the rope to spool out and fall down the shaft, sending the dumbwaiter tray crashing down somewhere below. You stash the pulley, and the short piece of rope still attached to it, in your overcoat.
That is a long way down. Well, it sounded like a long way down anyway. Boom. Yeah, that fell down somewhere that we can't get to yet. So I have this pulley, which I'll need for later. Let's look at these portraits.
The men featured in these individual portraits are each depicted in the style and garb of his era. In total, there must be over 20 pieces in here, representing an incredibly wide range of historical periods. All of the men bear a distinct resemblance. This must be one exceptionally enduring lineage.
Let's look at the statue.
One of the busts is a man garbed in a Roman toga, staring boldly into the distance, with eyes smoldering with purpose and ambition.
Alright, let's go west.
You enter the master bedroom. A bed fit for a king occupies the center of the room. Next to it is a small bedside table. Across the room is a dresser with a large, distorted mirror mounted above it. In the corner there is a closet. There is an exit east, back to the Hall of History.
Alright, I think you know the drill.
Judging by the arrangement of the bed's decorative pillows and the wrinkle-free state of its lush, embroidered quilt, it has probably been a long while since anyone has slept in this bed. This dresser is a fine work of woodcraft. You don't know much about furniture, but you'd bet even money that this is a Chippendale. The mirror is warped and distorted, like the kind you might find in a fun house. You take a look at yourself. There you are, tall, dark, handsome, and more than a little wiggly-shaped. The collar of your tan trench coat cowls around your neck, giving you an almost aristocratic air in the elevated aesthetic of this mansion. The bedside table has a single closed drawer.
Let's open it.
You open the drawer to reveal a bottle of sleeping pills inside. Day Be Gone sleeping pills, for the man who doesn't have time to wait for nature to run its course.
Day be gone. Ha ha ha. That's terrible.
You pocket the sleeping pills, hoping you don't rattle everywhere you walk from here on out.
Right. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, the closet.
You hear some muffled sounds coming from inside the closed closet door.
Open closet.
You try to open the door, but it's locked. A man's voice speaks muffled from inside.
Hello? Who's that? Hello? I'm trapped in here. That uncouth cretin locked me in while I was changing the bed sheets. Please, you have to help me.
You can ask about locked in. Who are you? This place? Escape? Kindra.
You are obviously new here, but undoubtedly you are already aware of the rather extraordinary nature of the Nexus. Having trouble remembering things? Does it seem like a certain something is missing from the world? What you are missing, my boy, is the tick of the minute hand. Don't believe me? Look at a clock. This peculiarity is of the greatest interest to my master. It is why our work here is so very important. But I've said too much.
New topic added. The master?
Yes, by that wretched, drunken kennel master. He spends all his time with uncivilized beasts, and so he acts like them. We've never seen eye to eye, but this is too far, sir. Too far. I simply came in the closet to change the sheets, and then while my back was turned, the brute slammed the door behind me and turned the key.
New topic added. Kennel master?
I am Archibald E. Thunker, head butler of the Nexus Manor. I have buttled this humble home for longer than most butlers can hope to achieve in their entire careers. It has been my greatest honor to serve here, and my greatest indignity to be introducing myself from inside this infernal cupboard. What did you say? Kendra? I can't hear a damn thing through this door.
Let's see, what? Oh, the master.
The master? Oh, well, I'm closer to him than anyone. As his butler, I often find myself assisting him with his studies of the Nexus. He is a most brilliant and powerful man, I can tell you. He often goes off like this for periods of time to collect things for his research on the Kiudba Aliga. Oh, sod it, Archie. When will you learn to keep your mouth shut?
New topic added. That weird word he just said.
That weird word.
The Kiudba Aliga. It is the key to everything. But I won't say more than that. Not until you get me out of here.
You can ask about kennel master? Escape?
The only escape I'm concerned with is getting out of this cupboard. As for leaving the Nexus, the master would tell you it's easy as 1, 2, 3. But of course he's used to moving the hands of time.
That's a hint.
Yes, the wretch looks over the master's scent hounds, but I'm afraid the grounds are quite overhunted, and the idleness has driven the man into the bottom of a bottle. On a number of occasions he has behaved inappropriately around my dear fiancée, and I dare say he is likely to go further, if he hasn't already. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all if my imprisonment is part of his muddle-headed scheme to snatch her away from me. You must help me, you must find the key and get me out of here.
New topic added. Key?
Yes, you know the little metal thingy you put in the door and twist. You have heard of doors, haven't you? Or is that concept foreign to you as well? I'm sorry if I'm being snippy, but I've been in here for ages and ages. You have to get me out. Find that mongrel kennel master. He's the key to finding, well, the key.
You can ask about key. Escape?
The only escape I'm concerned with is getting out of this cupboard.
Yeah, okay.
As for leaving the next...
The Hall of History. A dumbwaiter abuts gallery walls lined with portraits and statues.
I think that's everything in there, so we gotta get the key to get him out. Let's go over here.
You step onto a wide balcony. Looking out, you see a sky full of clouds tinted an unnatural purple hue. Rising in the distance, you see a dim lighthouse, but beyond that, you can't see any water on the horizon. In fact, you can't see much of anything. On the ground below the balcony, there is a stone patio beside a grassy lawn. Above you, a long white curtain hangs from a curtain rod, suspended over the balcony's marble railing. Wedged between two of the railing's posts is another cassette tape. There is an exit to the west leading back to the Hall of History.
Let's skip this.
You pick up the tape and put it in Kendra's player.
Okay, quick, before I forget, Father has a secret room hidden somewhere, right here in the mansion. Archie told me he saw it once, but of course he can't remember where. Thank God for Archie. He's the only one that really seems to care about getting out of this place, about having a future, any future. This morning I asked Father, if the Nexus is so bad for my mind, then why don't we just leave? But he says it's not safe for me out there in the non-liminal, not until he finishes his research, and that what he's doing will help me, help everyone. I don't know what he means by that. Okay, remember, tomorrow you're supposed to help pick out a gift for Cosette. Something pretty, I think.
You stash the tape in your inventory.
Alright, so, well, let's see. Let's look at some stuff.
The railing is tall and sturdy. A closer examination reveals that it is not actually marble, but merely wood that has been painted to look that way.
Let's look at the curtain.
The curtain is so long that the bottom half is draped in a pile on the floor. The curtain is attached to this rod, which hangs from the balcony's ceiling.
All right, let's do a time check. All right, okay, so, basically, and again, I had to check the hints. You can read the hint book, type the topic that you want, and then either get a hint or the answer. But because I know what I'm doing, I'm not going to use that. But what we have to do is cut curtain with knife.
You take out your knife and climb up onto the railing to get closer to the curtain rod. Stretching your arms out as far as you can without losing your balance, you carefully saw the curtain from its connectors. After a few minutes of work, the curtain falls down onto the balcony's deck in a large pile.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Now we tie curtain to rail.
You tie one end of the curtain to the railing and flop the other end down to the patio below.
Yep, and I think you can guess what we're going to do. Let's go down.
You climb down the curtain, scaling the side of the building, your jacket billowing dramatically in the wind. The end of the curtain hovers a few feet off a stone patio. You leap down and look around. The mansion towers imposingly next to you. Its domed turrets and elaborately ornamented cornices and balustrades remind you of the Victorian mansions in the Garden District back in New Orleans. The curtain hangs down like a rope from the balcony above. On the side of the building, a gas line crawls along the mansion's wood paneling. A few yards from the patio, an abnormally large chicken struts around an old coop. A dirt path leads east off into the tree line, winding toward a lighthouse in the distance. There are exits east along the lighthouse path, west to the front lawn, north to the backyard, and up the curtain to the balcony.
Yeah, I think you can go back up that way if you really want to, but there's an easier way. Let's see, let's look at this chicken.
This is far and away the largest chicken you have ever seen. Inside the coop is a nest with a few oversized white eggs. These eggs are very white and very big. The hen that laid these must be one big mother clucker.
That's funny. I love that.
You grab the eggs, but as you try to leave the coop, the chicken zeroes in on you and starts pecking like a hen out of hell. You run to escape its fury, but it is impossibly fast and unrelentingly vicious. Finally, in desperation, you return the eggs, and thankfully, as soon as you're out of its radius, it forgets about you.
Let's try that again.
You nab the eggs again, but before you can fly the coop, the chicken lands a monster peck right on the back of your hand. You recoil in stinging pain, dropping the eggs back in the nest, and retreat once again.
Yeah.
You've learned your lesson. There's no way that demon chicken is letting you empty her nest.
But we can put, put balls in coop.
You'd rather not.
Or wait, I think you combine. Why didn't that work? Use balls with eggs.
When the chicken isn't looking, you swap the white cue balls with the oversized eggs and stash them in your overcoat. The chicken seems oblivious to any foul play.
Yep, that's how you do it.
The gas line runs along the side of the mansion and eventually cuts through the wall into some room inside. At one end, there is a small nozzle that looks like it's missing a fuel source.
This is yet another puzzle.
It looks like the spot where a gas tank would screw in.
Alright, let's do some more exploration here. West.
You walk out onto the mansion's front lawn. The front facade of the mansion faces out. Regal Ionic columns bookend the mansion's front door. A wooden chair is wedged under the door's knob, crudely locking it from the outside. An old bike is rusted stuck to a lamppost, which illuminates beds of purple and pink petunias that sway in the wind. There are exits east to the patio and west.
Alright, so let's look at some stuff.
It's a sturdy wooden chair. You pick up the chair and move it out from under the knob. You open the front door into the living room. You set aside the chair, relieved that you won't have to climb back up the curtain to get back inside.
I wonder if it would still let me climb up. Probably. Let's look at these flowers.
The petunias are star-shaped and bursting with color. They would make a lovely arrangement for any occasion. You pluck a handful of the petunias. They smell wonderful. This bike hasn't been ridden in so long that it has been rusted stuck to the lamppost, perhaps with enough force. You pull at the bike, discovering that the rusty handlebars seem loose. You pull even harder. The handlebars seem quite loose now.
So basically I'm just trying to take the bike.
With a great pull, you wrench the handlebars off the bike. The rusty handlebars fall to the ground.
Yeah, we'll need that.
You pick up the rusty handlebars, stuffing them into your overcoat.
Right. What else we got over here?
The front facade of the mansion faces out. Regal Ionic columns bookend the mansion's front door. The decapitated bike remains stuck to the lamppost, which illuminates beds of purple and pink petunias that sway in the wind. There are exits east to the flies dance in the dim light of the lamppost, reminding you of cool summer nights and simpler times.
Alright, I think we got everything from there. Let's go west.
You walk to the lawn west of the mansion. On the side of the building, a lovely bay window looks in on a homey study inside. A group of dogs run and play in a fenced-in area next to a rickety old shed. There are exits east to the front lawn, north to the backyard, and west into the shed.
Alright, let's tackle some puzzles here.
From their droopy ears and superfluous folds of skin, these have got to be bloodhounds.
Right, we're gonna use rag with dogs.
You hold out the bacon grease-soaked rag, and the bloodhounds gather around excitedly. As soon as they have the scent, they bolt over the fence and run deep into the forest. A few minutes pass, and you hear excited barking. The dogs return, dragging a wild boar carcass over to you.
Alright, let's look at this boar.
It's not quite bacon, but with your help, it could be.
And I think you can guess what we're gonna do.
You take out your knife and go about the grim business of cleaning the game. Once you've quartered the meat, you pack it away in your coat. You make a mental note to visit the dry cleaners once you get home.
Now I got some meat. And let's see.
Inside the study, you can make out a bookshelf and a desk, on top of which lies another one of Kendra's tapes.
Alright, so we can't get in there.
You try to pry it open, but the window is locked shut.
But the thing we need is pretty close by, so I'm going to go north.
You walk up north behind the mansion. A wall of hedges faces you, towering as tall as 15 feet high. There is an arched opening in the shrubbery that leads to a path inside. A sign above reads, "The Hedge Maze." Out from the mansion's foundation, a power line snakes up the wall and shoots out over the labyrinth of hedges before you. There are exits east to the patio, west to the dog yard, and north into the hedge maze. You don't see that there. The power line seems to feed into the mansion's basement, bringing in energy from some source inside the hedge maze.
Uh-huh. Now, don't worry, this is not an obnoxiously complicated maze. I was concerned about that too, but it's not actually. But there is a way to solve it.
You cross the threshold into the hedge maze, the verdant walls ensconcing you in a moonlit world of muted forest greens. A long branch lies a few feet in front of you. There are exits south back to the backyard, and north further into the hedge maze.
Let's take this branch.
You pick up the baseball bat-shaped branch. It's got a solid weight to it, but it's not too big to carry.
Right. Let me show you something kind of amusing in here.
There are exits north, east, south, and west.
Yeah, so if you don't know where you're going...
An old man in tattered clothing scratches his dusty beard and stares at the exits, as if deciding which way to go. There are exits southwest, east, northeast, and northwest.
Yeah, so if you don't know what you're doing in here, you'll just go back to the start. But they have this guy in here, and once you find out who he is, well, I think this is pretty funny.
With his long hair and dirt-crusted beard, it seems like he's been lost in here a long, long time.
Let's talk to him.
Oh, hello there. Could you spare a few dollars for an old man down on his luck and hopelessly lost in this maze?
You can ask about escape, how to solve the maze, how do you get here, what's the money for, how to pay him, donate.
What's the money for?
The developers want to make part 2, but the whole endeavor of the first part was very time-consuming and relied on favors from friends and family. Plus, they have a dream of building an open-source, free-to-use platform that others can use to make their own voice adventures.
Yeah, this breaks the fourth wall pretty badly, but I think it's hilarious.
The only way I'm getting out of here is if I make enough money to make it into part 2.
You don't see that there.
Wait, topics.
You can ask about how to solve the maze, how do you get here, what's the money for, how to pay him, donate.
Me? It wasn't thanks to the master, if that's what you're thinking. No, I was put here by the game developers to elicit sympathy and ply you for cash. Is it working?
That's terrible, but it's funny.
I take Venmo, credit card, and in-app purchases.
Yeah, sure you do.
I've been wandering around this thing for, well, I don't know how long. Every time I think I'm getting somewhere, well, I wind up right back at the beginning. Spooky.
Yeah.
You can ask about how to solve the maze, how do you get here, what's the money for, how to pay him, donate.
I think if I type donate, it'll bring up the donation screen, so we're just going to walk away.
You can't do that. You can't do that. That's not an exit. That took you back to the beginning of the maze. Spooky.
So
there are exits.
Yeah, let's go back.
The backyard. And you can't do that. The dog yard. The hounds run and play beside an old shed. You swing the branch like a baseball bat into the window. The glass shatters, leaving a gaping hole. You reach through the broken pane and unlatch the window. It swings open, and you crawl inside, taking care not to cut yourself on any glass shards. You enter the study. Rich mahogany paneling gives the room a certain glow of class and comfort. Bookshelves line the walls with various leather-bound texts and strange knickknacks, like a mortar and pestle. There is a cassette tape on top of a writing desk nearby. On the wall above, a small oil painting hangs askew. In the corner, a big, beautiful grandfather clock stands regally. Etched in the glass that encases its pendulum and gears are strange runic symbols. To the west, the broken window leads back to the dog yard. On one wall, there is a mahogany door.
Now, yes, in case you were wondering,
This gorgeous door is carved from the finest mahogany. Inlaid upon its rich brown exterior are depictions of ancient scenes with symbols reminiscent of Egyptian hieroglyphs.
now we can open it from this side.
You press down on the door's handle and hear a soft click as a locking mechanism disengages. The door swings open to the hallway that leads back to where you first arrived.
Right, so that's how I can get back into the house, too.
You pick up the tape and put it in Kendra's player.
Father is hiding something.
Oh, sorry.
Why else keep his lab secret from me? Whenever I ask to see it, he says, it's only for those who can move the hands of time. But I'm his daughter. Why not teach me? There's something tucked away in the corners of my mind, but he refuses to help me access it. And why is his memory so much better than ours? Is it because he spends so much time outside of the Nexus, in real time? What if I could just get closer to the temporal barrier? Maybe then I would start to remember. I don't know, but I have to try it. If he won't show me where he keeps the doors of time, I'll have to find them myself.
You stash the tape in your inventory. You add Find the Master's Secret Lab to your to-do list.
Yeah, sorry about that. I dropped my keyboard. That's why you heard that clattering noise. It's on my lap right now, and I almost dropped it. Alright, so we got that. Let's look at this bookshelf.
After scanning the various objects and book titles on the shelf, 2 things stand out to you. A mortar and pestle, and a worn journal that looks like it might be important.
Alright, let's get this stuff. Take mortar.
You pocket the mortar and pestle. You flip through the pages of the journal. Most of it is filled with a handwritten scrawl of indecipherable symbols, diagrams, and strings of unknown characters. In the last few pages, however, you discover an entry in perfectly readable English.
It was sometime in the late 7th century that I happened upon these marvelous mahogany wood panels in a merchant's trailer in the markets of Constantinople. Upon examination, I was stunned to discover that its rich inlays depicted the legend of Tab and Zal, a tale I had hoped had been long lost to the ravages of time. Apparently not so. The topmost panel shows the arrival of the gods Tab and Zal from the sky to the people of ancient Sumer. Tab and Zal could not stay long on the land, for by nature they were transitory beings. But before they left, they prophesied a great calamity in man's future, one that only they had the power to stem. On the second panel, you can see the gods bestowing their knowledge to the village elders in the form of 3 magic runes, each with powers beyond imagining. The final piece features the villagers swearing oaths to safeguard those stones, and vowing to keep them forever hidden across the ages, so that one day Tab and Zal might return to help in the time of chaos. Even though the carvings were hardly enough to betray all the details of the legend, there was no sense in risking that this forgotten chapter of history become public knowledge. So I stole them, and now I've had them repurposed as a rather regal door for my study. Still, the incident was disquieting. Who was this artist? How many more still remember? It is a question I intend to find the answer to.
As you go to close the journal, you notice a bookmark wedged in the back. On it is a handwritten chart of runic symbols, each mapped to their phonetic pronunciation. Seems useful. You stash the bookmark and the journal in your inventory for future reference.
Yep, that'll come in handy.
The grandfather clock is very old and very large, even a bit taller than you. Mysterious symbols are etched into the glass of its front cabinet that encases a pendulum and gears. Above the glass, the exposed clock face is frozen on 12 midnight. Currently, the hour hand is set to 12 o'clock.
Yeah, so there's... and then you have...
Currently, the minute hand is set to 0 minutes.
Now, there's a clue. Escape is possible with 1, 2, 3. So if I set the hour to 1...
You move the hour hand into the 1 o'clock position.
And set minute to 23.
The minute hand locks into place, and the great gears of the clock start to whirl. The clock slides to the side to reveal a secret passageway, down winding steps to some room below.
Alright, let's go down here.
You step into the hidden passage and make your way down the stairs. As you descend, the light grows dimmer and dimmer. A chill runs up the back of your spine. When you reach the bottom step, you can't see anything. It is pitch black. It appears you will have to rely on your other senses.
So now if you just type or say touch...
You feel around in the darkness for a light switch, a lamp, anything. Your hands land on something hard and bulbous, with a small knob that has a familiar feel.
Turn knob?
You twist the knob and light flashes on from the gaslit lantern it's attached to. Your eyes adjust to the light, and you take in your surroundings. You are in a laboratory of sorts. The room is filled with glass instruments and intricate machinery. In one corner, a large chalkboard is covered with equations written in the same symbols you've been seeing all over this place. Embedded in the wall is a dumbwaiter and its tray. At the far end of the room, there is a thick metal door. A mechanical keypad is mounted next to it. A cassette tape lies on the floor below. The lantern glows on a nearby shelf, lighting the rest of the room. There is an exit up to the study. It is a gas-lit lantern. It has a knob on top to turn it on. At the bottom, a small gas tank provides the means of combustion.
Yes.
The gas tank is screwed into the bottom of the lantern.
We'll need that. Let's look at this door.
This door looks like it belongs in a bank vault. Whatever's behind it must be worth protecting.
Can't open it, obviously.
You don't see that there. This door has no handles. There must be some other way to get it open. It might be the security system for the doors. There is a small display at the top, but it's completely dark. There are a few electrical wires that seem to lead from the keypad, up the wall, and through a hole in the concrete that leads to the back of the mansion. You press a few buttons, but nothing happens. It occurs to you that it might be electronic. Too bad the power's out down here. You add restore power to the basement to your to-do list.
Alright, that's another puzzle.
You pick up the tape and put it in Kendra's player.
It's all a lie. The bastard has been lying to me the whole time. How long have I been here? Is this the first time I've learned the truth? That he's not my father, but my kidnapper? That I've been kept here not just against my will, but against myself, my identity. The time door seems to emanate pulses of linear energy, and the nearer I approached it, the more my memories returned in jolting waves of clarity. Staring into the vortex, I could see the future, my past. I could see my team unearthing the stone from its ancient resting place, its runes glowing with the unclassifiable, space-distorting energy our LIGO had detected. Years and years of testing and obsessive experimentation. And finally, that last night. The one that opened the door for him. He can't know that I found out, but I can't afford to wait until I forget again. I must get the runestone and then find a way to activate it. It's the only safe way through the time rift.
You stash the tape in your inventory.
Yes, let's actually take a look at the stone real quick.
In the back pocket of your slacks is a small, flat stone tablet of sorts. You have no idea where it came from. Etched on its surface are a few foreign markings and symbols you don't recognize.
Right, okay, so there's that. Let's see, what else we got in here?
In one corner, a large chalkboard is covered with equations written in the same symbols you've been seeing all over this place.
Oh, yeah.
Embedded in the wall is between the scrawled equations you can read one bit of plain English. To traverse the temporal vertices, the Kyudba Aliga must be fully imbued with Star Force.
That's a clue, but we can't do anything with that right now. So what we have to do, let's see if I can go to Dog Yard.
The Dog Yard. The hounds run and play beside an old shed.
Alright, let's go in here, west.
You step into the old kennel house. Tumbleweeds of dog hair and piles of miscellaneous detritus pepper every surface. An unshaven mutt of a man shouts drunkenly from the corner. "Ah,
A fresh face! Come in, lad, come in! Warm yourself by the fire and join an old kennel master for a drink.
He takes a long pull from a jar of some potent liquid you can smell from across the room.
I've gotten so sick of looking at the same damn faces. You know the problem with eternity? It never ends.
The kennel master sits by a small wood stove that burns in the center of the room. You notice a key dangling from a string looped around his neck. In the corner, a shoddy-looking table hangs askew from the wall. To the east, a door leads back outside.
Let's look at some stuff here.
Upon further inspection, you can see that the table is attached to the wall support by a metal clamp. You unscrew the clamp, and the table comes crashing down.
What the hell did you do that for? Actually, you know what? It's better this way. Really opens up the space. Thanks, kid.
You pocket the clamp.
Yeah.
It's the key to a master bedroom closet. As a necklace, it's actually quite fetching.
Keep your paws away from that. Making sure that prig of a butler stays locked away is the undivided focus of my every waking hour.
Yep, so he's not going to let me take the key. Not that easily. Let's see.
From his shaggy hair and earthy stench, you suspect this kennel master has spent too much time in the company of canines. Nice and cozy.
That's the stove. Alright, let's talk to him.
Go ahead, friend. I'm an open book.
You can ask about the key, the dogs, Kendra, the master, that drink.
Ho ho ho! One sip to put hair on your chest, and another to take it right back off.
He hands you his jug. The stuff smells like rat poison. You pretend to take a sip and hand it back to him.
Oh, took it like a champ. Most folks say it tastes like rat poison. Well, good man. Oh, this? Well, you see, there's this old stick-up-the-arse butler fella. Always giving me a hard time, that one. So I decided to teach him a bit of manners. If that prissy little pansy wasn't in the closet before, he sure is now. Aren't they just lovely? English bloodhounds through and through. Catch a scent of anything and they'll chase it down in minutes. Time was we did quite a bit of hunting in these lands. Too much, in fact. Now the only game around here is billiards. Well, that and the occasional wild boar, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a clue for the boar puzzle, which I just solved.
You haven't met him? You mean he didn't bring you here? Well, isn't that a trick? How did you manage that? He's a ripe old bastard, he is. One day we went hunting together, and the next he offers me a job. Hoped I might do it for the rest of my life, but little did I know there wasn't going to be a rest of anything at all.
New topic added. Escape?
Oh, there was a fine-looking lass. The pups loved her, but afraid to say she never took much to warming to me. Not like that butler. No accounting for taste, I suppose.
That was about Kendra.
Ah, you want to get off this rock? Well, I don't blame ya. Only one could ever come and go as he pleased was the master. And he always said it was just as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Now, I wonder, let's try use knife with man.
There has to be a way to get the key that doesn't involve committing a mortal sin.
Oh, there's some pretty amusing responses if you try to kill the other characters. Alright, let's do this. So we're going to use pills with mortar.
You shake the sleeping pills into the mortar and pestle and grind them up into a fine powder. You scoop it up in the empty pill bottle and stash it in your inventory.
Let's look at this stuff here.
It's the powder from the ground-up sleeping pills.
Use pill with thermos.
You stir the sleeping pill powder into the coffee. It bubbles for a moment, then settles down. You stash the spiked coffee in your inventory.
Now, I wonder if it would let me...
The thermos is full of coffee with a hint of benzodiazepines. You learned the hard way never to mix your uppers and downers.
Yeah, it's not going to let me drink it, but...
What's that? Coffee? Well, don't mind if I do.
He gulps down the drugged coffee.
Oh, now that had an interesting flavor. Do I detect a note of metallic dog breath? Oh.
His eyes immediately roll back, and he passes out in his chair. You check his pulse. A bit fast, but he's fine. Fast asleep and probably having very energetic and productive dreams. You pick up the key and stash it away.
Alright, so we are good to go as far as that's concerned.
You can't do that.
Let's go...
List exits to see where you can. That's not an exit. The dog yard. The front lawn. Warm lamplight. The patio. A gas line runs along the outside of the mansion.
With gas line.
You don't see that there.
Oh, I didn't grab the tank, did I? Let's do that real quick. Go to lab.
The secret lab.
Take tank.
You unscrew the gas tank from the lantern, and the light goes out.
Go to
You
patio.
pocket the patio. A gas line runs along the outside of the mansion. You twist the gas tank onto the gas line. It fits like a glove.
Alright, so we need to do that.
The front lawn. You can't do that.
North.
The living room. A lonely armchair and coffee table sit at the center of this once grand parlor.
Let's go to master bedroom.
The master bedroom. You can hear the butler's muffled... You don't see that there.
Oh, I didn't get the painting from the lab, did I? Go to lab.
Without the lantern light, the basement is pitch black. You can still feel where the tankless gas lantern rests on its shelf. There is an exit up to the study. You don't see that there. You don't see that there. You'd prefer to use your powers of observation.
Oh, crap. Well, I kind of messed this up, but I think I know how to solve the maze. Let me see if I can do this. So...
The backyard.
Oh, actually...
An arched opening in the hedges behind the mansion leads to the maze.
So, what you're supposed to do... And I may have just screwed this up, I'm not sure, because I don't know if I remember the directions. I guess I could always grab the gas tank and put it back in the lab, but what you're supposed to do... Wait a minute, I think it's in the study. Wait.
The study. You pick up the painting and stash it in your overcoat.
So...
The painting depicts an elaborate hedge maze. The pattern of the maze looks like it could almost form letters, but for some reason, they don't look quite right.
Sorry, so I cut off that last message. I just think it said it's bulky, but it'll fit. Okay, so I was actually wrong. So the painting is in here. Now if I go to master bedroom.
The master bedroom. You can hear the butler's muffled cries from the closet.
Yeah, and we'll get him out too. Use painting with mirror.
How?
Use painting with mirror.
You whip out your painting and hold it up to the warped mirror. In its twisted reflection, you are able to see that the hedge patterns in the maze are in fact letters. They were just backwards and jumbled before. Now you can clearly make them out to be north, west, south, northwest, east, and then southeast.
Okay, I think I can remember that for a little while. Let's go ahead and... Well, actually, I can't do that yet, but I'll have to keep that in mind. Let's unlock closet.
You unlock the door to reveal a man in his 50s. His tuxedo is disheveled, and on his face is a few days or weeks' growth.
Oh, my word. I can't thank you enough for getting me out of there. I say, is that my jacket?
You can ask about the maid, that weird word he said, the master's work, jacket, Kindra.
The master is a scholar, not of history, but of time itself. From what I understand, this mansion exists in a nexus, a sort of in-between point, or perhaps behind the curtain of time, as it were. This place is not only the object of his study, but a base of operations from which he can travel to other periods as easily as you might board a train. Kindra. Kindra. The name does sound familiar. Do you have a picture of her or something like that?
I wonder if... Well, let's see.
My darling Cassette. She must be beside herself with worry. I must see her at once.
The butler starts for the door, but stops when he sees himself in the mirror.
Dear God, look at the state of me. I can't let her see me like this. But I must let her know I'm all right. I shall write to her.
He pulls a pen and paper from his jacket and begins writing.
I'll also need to give her something by way of an apology for my long absence. Something beautiful. Do you have anything like that?
Yes, I do.
You add, find something beautiful for the butler to your to-do list.
Oh, it fits you better anyway. I always found the pockets to be a bit excessive.
Let's see, what am I missing here?
You can ask about the maid, that weird word he said, Kindra.
The Kiudba Aliga. From what I understand, it is some sort of ancient rune stone. It allows one to traverse the time stream like a sort of mystical passport. The master had one. It was what allowed him to bring us all here. As long as he had the stone, he was able to enter the doors of time. Of course, I've never seen these doors, but I know the master has his own secret laboratory somewhere in the mansion.
Yes, I found that. Good, I'm recording. Let's give him some stuff. Give stone to man.
You show the tablet to the butler.
How did you get that? Do you know what that is? That's the Kiudba Aliga, the master's time rune. But there's something wrong with it. It looks inert. It usually has a glow like starlight.
New topics added to the butler. Time rune and inert. To see what topics you can ask, say...
If I recall correctly, there is a certain way to re-energize the rune. It had to do with some notion of focusing starlight. It involved a clear night sky full of stars and a sort of special telescope with a crystal at its base to concentrate the light.
You add these instructions to your to-do list.
The Kiudba Aliga. As long as the master had the stone, he was able to enter the doors of time. Of course, I've never seen these doors, but I know the master has his...
You can ask about the maid, time rune, inert, Kindra.
Alright, that's all he can do. Let's give him...
You hand the bouquet to the butler.
Yes, those are perfect. Petunias are her absolute favorite.
He sticks an envelope in the bouquet and hands it back to you.
In the service of true love, please deliver those for me.
Let's see what happens if I give him... Give tape to man.
You play Kindra's tapes for him.
My God, how could I have forgotten? Yes, Kindra, the poor girl. She suffered so languishing in this place. I helped her. Yes, that's right. She told me she needed the Kiudba Aliga to return home, but the master always kept it on his person. She was such a sweet girl, and I owed her for playing the Cupid in my wooing of Cosette. So, one night, I mixed a few sleeping pills into the master's tea. It sounds like she made it out, after all.
Ah, so he helped her escape, and that's how you, the player, got the stone. Okay, that's interesting. Let's go to the living room.
The living room. A lonely armchair and coffee table
to...
sit at the center. You don't want to do that. The billiard room. The maid cleans beside... You hand the maid the bouquet.
Petunias! Well, this must be a note from my dear Archibald. Oh, that old sweetie. This letter makes me love him more than ever. If you hear anything else from him, please let me know.
Let's go back over here. Go to the master bedroom.
The master bedroom. Through the warped mirror on...
I can't thank you enough for freeing me. I'll be happy to answer your questions now.
You can ask about Flowers delivered. Time rune. Inert.
I see you've delivered my letter. Thank you. But I'm worried I didn't say enough. She's such a wonderful woman, and I'd hate to lose her. Sorry to be a bother, but would you mind fetching another bouquet? I'd like to send her another letter.
The front lawn. Warm. You pluck a handful of the petunias. They smell wonderful. The master bedroom. Through the warped mirror, you hand the bouquet to the butler.
Perfect again.
He sticks an envelope in the bouquet and hands it back to you.
Once more unto the breach, dear fellow.
Go to billiards.
You can't do that.
Go to
List
billiards.
exits to the billiard room.
There we go.
The maid cleans beside the pool table. With the size of the diamond on that ring, you hardly think there's any reason to keep passing love notes between the happy couple.
Yeah, so you can't do that. So there's a trick that you got to do, and this is pretty mean. Let's see. Use hate with envelope.
Nah.
Wait. Replace note with envelope.
That doesn't need any more hate.
Wait. Replace love with hate.
You don't see that there.
What's the command to do that? Replace love note with hate note.
You open the envelope and swap the love letter with the hate note. Never has a bouquet held so much destructive power.
Yeah, the command there is a little strange. It takes a few tries. But yeah, if you do replace love note with hate note, that seems to do the trick. So now if I look at this.
The butler originally wrote this note for the kennel master, but in the context of a bouquet of petunias, it is as confusing as it is devastating.
Yeah, this is really awful, but we need the ring. And if I try to take it...
Your moral compass may not always point north, but stealing jewelry from helpless women is a line you're not keen to cross.
Oh yeah, and try this too. Kill woman with knife.
Nah.
Wait. Kill woman with knife.
Back home, you were never a lady killer. No reason to start now.
Give envelope to woman.
You hand the modified bouquet to the maid.
What's this? Another letter from my Archie?
She takes the note and reads it.
How I came by the misfortune of being stuck in this infernal place with a mongrel like you is beyond me. It's bad enough that you constantly smell of dog, but even your very face reminds one of that hateful canine race. And yet, it is hardly a surprise as you are the leader of all bitches. You are truly a disgusting excuse for a human being, and it would be my greatest pleasure never to encounter you or your stench again. With deepest rancor, Archibald E. Sunker.
Her face turns a scarlet red, and she tears up the note and throws the flowers against the wall.
That bastard! No one speaks to me that way. No one. And they certainly don't marry me.
She twists the diamond ring off her finger and tosses it against the wall as she storms out of the room.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
You pick up the ring. You don't feel good about it, but at least you feel a certain sense of accomplishment.
Alright, let's see if we can tackle that hedge maze. Go to backyard.
The backyard. An arched opening in the
actually-
hedges behind the mansion leads to the... That's not an... The patio. You follow the path through a patch of trees and arrive at the base of a lighthouse. The lighthouse's beacon light is out. Its open door swings back and forth in the wind. A cassette tape is just barely visible in a thick patch of grass. The dirt path leads back to the mansion.
Take tape. Oh wait, do I have to stop? I think Cassie might be waking up.
You pick up the tape and put it in Kendra's player.
I had the dream again. I'm in a world made of metal buildings, towering straight up into the clouds. There are streets crowded with strange-looking people. Electric lights and sounds fill the air, and in the moment it is so vivid, so foreign yet familiar. I recognize words, the names of places and things. I see machines made of pure suspended light. Father says it's the future I'm seeing. The vision's another side effect of living here in liminal space. It's all so real, so present. If that's the future, how do I know that now is even now? Ugh, I hate this place.
You stash the tape in your inventory.
Maybe we can continue. Let's go enter lighthouse.
You swing back the door and head inside the lighthouse. After scaling the tower's long spiral staircase, you arrive inside the lighthouse's lantern room. The tower's glass exterior is shuttered off by a series of metal blinds. Moonlight creeps through the cracks to reveal a round pedestal at the center of the room where it seems like a lighthouse lantern should go. Mounted above the pedestal is a giant metal cylinder resembling an observatory telescope. The larger end points toward the tower's windows, which are blocked by the metal blinds. Jutting out from one of the walls is a metal crank. There are exits down to the base of the lighthouse and west out to the exterior catwalk of the tower.
Yeah, maybe I should stop here. This should conclude part 2, and I'll come back for the last part of this particular game. We are almost done. There's a few more puzzles for the end. So yeah, join me for part 3.